A number of persons who are here before I invite the Honorable Minister to the podium. The Deputy Chief Executive in charge of small-scale mining and industrial minerals, Mr. Samuel Tika, is here with us. Samuel, where are you? Thank you very much for being with us. The Chief Inspector of Mines, Mr. Kofi Ejay. Kofi, where are you? Thank you very much for being with us, Kofi. The Chief Executive of the Minerals Commission, Mr. Martin Ayisi. Mr. Ayisi, how are you? Thank you so much for being with us. The Advisor to the Minister on Mines, Mr. Benjamin Ayi. Mr. Ayi, thank you for being with us. The Honorable Deputy Minister in charge of Mines, who is also a Member of Parliament for Takwa Insuayem, the Honorable George Mekuduka. Thank you very much for being with us. The Deputy Lands Minister in charge of Lands and Forestry and MP for Epima Nwabija, the Honorable Benito Ousubiu. Thank you for being with us. Should I mention the other name? I should leave it out there. And then, ladies and gentlemen, to give us the opening remarks for the presentation by the Minerals Commission, my brother, the Member of Parliament for Damongo and Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the Honorable Samuel Abujinapo. Let's receive him with a round of applause.
Distinguished guests, members of the press, let me first of all thank our outstanding Minister for Information and the Ministry of Information and his deputy, the Honorable Fatih Abubakari, and of course my two dependable deputy ministers, Chief Executive Officer of Minerals Commission. We are gathered in the auditorium of the Ministry of Information this morning to perform a very important part of our mandate, which is accounting to the people and giving an account of how far we've discharged the instructions of the President thus far. Distinguished guests, members of the press, I'm sure you will appreciate how important the mineral sector of our country is to all of Ghana. As you know, these minerals are vested in the President, and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has the mandate and responsibility to manage the minerals of our country through the Minerals Commission, which is the technical bureaucracy through which these resources are managed. And you know, we began the year on the instructions of the President with the National Consultation on Small-Scale Mining, which was held on the 14th and 15th of April. Thereafter, I've been leading a delegation from the ministry to tour the country. We've done Ashanti, we've done Eastern, we've done Western, we've done Central, we've done Western North, we've done Greater Accra, we've done Northeast, we've done Upper East, we've done Upper West, we've done Savannah, we've done Northern Region, we've done Bono East, Ahafo. We're just left with Oti and Volta region to cover all of Ghana. And essentially, one of the main reasons for our tour has been how to effectively manage the mineral resources of our country on the basis of transparency and integrity. We also recall that the President declared water bodies and forest reserves as red zones when it comes to mining. And pursuant to that, I issued a directive to ban prospecting, recognizance, and exploration of minerals in forest reserves in our country. And we recall Operation Halt and the work that is done, which culminated in the launch of the National Alternative Livelihood Program by the President for miners. There's a lot that has been happening at the Minerals Commission, and very soon I'll be inviting the Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission to give a presentation to the country on how far we've come with the management of the mineral resources of our country. But let me just conclude and invite the Chief Executive Officer by making two very important points. The first one is that in many cases the impression is created that mining is all about galamsey, or that the only issue we deal with in the mining sector has to do with galamsey. Yes, galamsey is a very important and consequential matter. It has far-reaching, debilitating adverse effects on the forward march of our country. There's no two ways about that. But there is a lot more we do than dealing with galamsey. There is a major sector, the large-scale mining sector, a very significant sector of the economy, which the Ministry and Minerals Commission manages. We work with the Ghana Chamber of Mines and seek to create a conducive environment to keep Ghana as the #1 producer of gold in Africa and the 6th producer of gold in the whole world. And it's a lot of work, and the Chief Executive Officer will be speaking to some of the interventions we've made so far. As you know, the budget which was read by the Minister for Finance had a very significant intervention in the small-scale mining sector of our country. Before the budget, the arrangement which exists now is that if you were exporting gold from small-scale mining, you were required to pay a withholding tax of 3%, which was effectively and by all intents and purposes an export tax. And indeed, the Precious Minerals Marketing Company was responsible for collecting this tax. And it became somehow a disincentive and encouraged smuggling, and which was not good for the mining sector of our country. Arising out of broad consultations in the government and under the leadership of the President, the Minister for Finance has reduced this withholding tax from 3% to 1.5% on unprocessed gold, and it will be collected at the point of production. So it's going to be collected at the mine site. It will not be collected at the point of PMMC, and which will mean that if you were exporting gold arising from small-scale mining, at the point of export, you literally, quote-unquote, will pay 0% tax. What the obligation will be is at the point of production, which is at the mine site, which will be 1.5% withholding tax on unprocessed gold. I think this is significant and is going to contribute tremendously to the growth of the small-scale mining sector. The matters to do with community mining, the mercury-free equipment we are bringing in to ensure that the gold is extracted from the ore in a sustainable manner and environmentally sound manner. All of these are matters we seek to bring to the attention of the Ghanaian people. But all in all, I believe that we haven't gotten to where we should be yet. There are still challenges. On a daily basis, we receive reports of illegal mining activities in several areas and parts of our country. There's a good deal of work we still have to do to come to a situation, a satisfactory situation. But without a shred of doubt, we are making progress and we're on the right track in our view. And we are still open to suggestions and critiques and additions here and there. But by and large, I believe that the mining sector is seeing a lot of action and is seeing a lot of leadership through the Minerals Commission. Fortunately for me, I have a very excellent Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission, very sound technically and hardworking, and a distinguished professional of our country, Mr. Martin Ayisi is the Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Commission. I invite him to do the presentation. Thank you.
Morning. Minister, indeed, there's a lot beyond galamsey. Honorable Minister for Information, who is the MP for Adebi Ofuasi, I hope I got it right. My Minister, Honorable Samuel Abdullahi Jinapo, also the MP for Damango. Deputy Minister Duka, MP for Takwa Nswayem. Honorable Benito Usubio, Member of Parliament for Achiman Wabiaja North. And then my colleagues from the Minerals Commission, as well as distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. I'm here to present essentially to the entire nation what we've been doing so far. I will be speaking ex-tempo. Occasionally, I will demonstrate and show you pictures and also one or two issues on the slide. That's the outline I have for you. Essentially, I cannot see from there, so I may have to bend a little. So I'll briefly talk about mandate, look at the situation as at the beginning of this year, development so far, what we have achieved, of course, challenges, the outlook for 2022, and then we'll conclude, and then with the permission of my minister, we may invite questions from the members of the press. Let's take a look at it. For us, we are a creature of the Constitution. What do I mean by that? If you look at that article, there specifically says that when it comes to the management of the natural resources of the nation, the Parliament must create commissions to manage them. So you have the likes of Forestry Commission, Energy Commission, Water Resources Commission, etc. So That's how come you have the Minerals Commission. We have been in existence under PNDC Law 154, 1986. So with the coming to force of the Constitution, a whole lot of things have to be done. So PNDC Law 154 was amended, and currently we are governed by Minerals Commission Act 1993 Act 450. Let me say this, and let me put it on record. Essentially, what we do is to regulate and manage the sector. We've been hearing people saying Minerals Commission grant licenses. We don't grant licenses. Fortunately, the education we've been doing over the years, things are becoming clearer now. The person who has the sole mandate and authority to grant mineral rights is a minister responsible for lands and natural resources. Let's go ahead. Yes, what was the situation as at the beginning of this year? Minister took office in March 6. I was appointed as acting CEO sometime, I think about 2 weeks or so, specifically 22nd March. This is a situation we inherited. Widespread illegal mining, degraded lands from illegal activities all over the country, complaints of delays in the licensing regime, and then lack of suitable areas for small scale, weak enforcement of environment, health, and safety legislation, and then poorly equipped inspectorate division. What have we done within the last 8 months? Take us to the next slide. Yes, I think when Minister took office in March, he's been on my neck 24/7. One of the things he's been telling me, cut the delays in the licensing regime. You can see I listed it earlier on my slide. What have we done? Minister, I'm proud to tell the people of Ghana that effective 1st November, we have abolished paper-based applications. So we no longer accept applications, hard copies. You have to go online and do it. Today is 23rd, barely 3 weeks now. It's been very phenomenal. Cooperation has been wonderful. Essentially, what it means is that you can submit application 24/7. You don't need to leave Damango or Ayirbi and come to Minerals Commission all the way and make sure you meet us between 8 to 5. You can now submit applications online. Online, that's what I mean. So that has one of our major things that we have done. Let's move, it's on the next slide. I want to highlight more on that. Yes, so that is it. Paper-based applications have been abolished. Now, we have also upgraded our infrastructure to meet the digitization process. I'm happy to announce that practically all our regional and district offices have been connected online. Minister, God forbid, but if today there's a disaster and we shut down, we can work 24/7 from our homes. That is Minerals Commission. That's what we've been able to achieve within the last 8 months. Again, we are digitizing all our records. I have recruited as many as 50 national service personnel to digitize the fine details of all the mineral rights, and by close of the year, everything will be fully digitized. But what we have done so far is enough for us to process applications online. I'm also happy to announce that companies now file all their returns online. So whether it's environmental reports, labor returns, production returns, whatever that you're supposed to file as per the regulations and the act, they just upload them and we acknowledge receipt instantly. In fact, what I was also shocked is that now we even requested that they make a request for meetings, and then if they want to have meetings with us, if they want to send notifications, they do it online, and it works. I have a dedicated officer who sits in my office and then see to it that these things are done. As soon as the emails come to, we acknowledge receipt. So that is that on the digitization process. And then we've also commenced same for small scale. As we speak, we have digitized 1,400 small scale licenses, about 726 valid. And they can now apply for their licenses by paying Momo. Now what it means is that Saturday, rather than me saying that, look, it's 5 o'clock, I cannot go to TAQA office, you can sit in the comfort of your home. Saturday, upload the application, and then pay through our GhanaGov.platform. We'll accept it and process it. Let me tell you how this has been a game changer for us. And so if you like, 3 weeks ago, what typically happens is that you go to, let's say, our district office in Wa or Takwa, you go and file an application there, then the officer has to take you to the ground and then do inspection, prepares his report. That's more or less like a week. And then he has to send it by courier to head office. Today is Tuesday, if I got it right. If a courier is done in Takwa today, the earliest I can get it in my office is Friday, sometimes Monday if it delays. Now I'm saying that save the fact that the officer has to take you to the ground and do inspection within 2-3 days. So you submit your application on Saturday, and I'm even encouraging them to work on weekends because they are connected. Most of their bungalows are within the offices. So you submit your application on Sunday, he gives you a date for inspection Monday. And I've told them within 3 days you have to complete the inspection. He uploads the application immediately. We will see it at head office. We'll look at it. So within a matter of 1 week, the application can get to the minister. In the past or until recently, it takes us 3, 6, 7 months. So that is the changes that we are bringing. The small-scale miners themselves told us that they prefer to go and do the registration themselves in the district offices. I've been checking daily, and it's working very well. So, Minister, we are grateful for that. For the large scale, yes, if the figures are small, they pay by Momo. Other than that, they pay directly into our account. You don't know to, most of them have offices around the airport, and it takes about an hour to just come to Mincom and come and pay. Again, for me, it is also good because it also reduces face-to-face interaction, which sometimes get our officers compromised. So that's how far we've come with improving the licensing regime. We'll still have a lot to do. When I get to the challenges, I'll talk more about that. Let's take us to the next slide. And I'll encourage you to visit our offices. You can see the change for yourself. Practically everybody has a new computer, they have laptops, they have all the gadgets that have been procured for them. And then, again, reforms at the commission. We have hired more inspectors. I think we've hired close to about 30 or so inspectors, essentially mining engineers, most of them from UMAT, so that we put them on the ground. Most of them were hired somewhere between March and then last week. And then we are also providing operational vehicles. With the effort of my minister, I'm pleased to announce that by the end of the year, I'll be getting 20 pickups. 20 pickups, something that has never happened in the commission, so that we'll be able to distribute them to the offices. As I speak to you, I have an office in Dunkwa. The officer there is under the Obuasi officer. There is no vehicle in Dunkwa. So it means this is a problem. The folks in Obuasi have to come all the way. And if the officers in Dunkwa can hear me, I am here telling them that in the next month or so, they will get a pickup so that it will make them more efficient. So that is in terms of strengthening the Minerals Commission. We have also renovated our lab in Takoradi, and that will give us more money. Minister, and then distinguished members of the press, we didn't have blast monitors all these years. It's a shame that we had to go to even some of the mines. I'm talking about this issue that we used to text for noise level and then the quarries. We've procured about 10 or so, and now our officers can work efficiently. Apart from that, too, we can also make money from it, because when we come to the site and come and test, you have to pay us. In the life of the commission, we never had this thing. This has been done now. So it's part of the reforms and equipping the Minerals Commission. And then we've also commenced joint monitoring together with EPA, particularly the small-scale sites. That is working very well. The next thing I also want to talk about is the construction of offices across the country. Distinguished members of the press, if the definition of mining in our law is anything to go by, practically we are mining in all the 16 regions in Ghana. 13 for gold, if it comes to small scale. Apart from Oti, Volta, and maybe Greater Accra, we don't know what the geology will tell us one day. We have small scale mining taking place in 13 regions. I don't know how else you can be efficient if you're not on the ground. One of the reasons that made us inefficient is the fact that we're not visible everywhere. Until recently, Minister, we only had an office in Wa. That's all. And how do you expect the Wa officer to cover the likes of Bole, Tinga, and Co., which are now major hubs for small scale? Offices have been created, and some of them are also under construction. I would like to see some of the pictures. Can you show us some of the pictures, what is happening? Okay. When you are ready, let us know. Let's go to the next slide. Yes, so this is my Bibiani office. Construction started about a month ago. Next one. This is Akimodan. Yes, you can stop here for a while.
Minister, distinguished members of the public, I am not here to come and talk about plans that are far advanced. These things are happening now. This is my Tamale office, 5-story, and it's supposed to serve the northern hub, which is becoming the new frontiers now. Construction has started, and by maybe 2 years from now, it will be ready.
Can I see the construction going on? So this is Tamale office, Tamale office.
So these are ongoing. And then we have offices being constructed in Bibiani and Akimodan. Next year by this time, they'll be commissioned. And then we intend to build more offices across the country.
So this is, you can stop here for a while.
This is our model offices for the district. So this is currently being constructed at Bibiani. It will be ready next year by this time. We shall commission it. There's a big mine that, courtesy of the minister, life has come back, the so-called Bibiani mine.
This will be where our inspectors will be operating from.
And then the same thing is also being constructed at Akimodan right now. You can go and verify for yourself. These are not plans that are far advanced.
These are resources we've been able to find,
courtesy of our hard-working
minister. The next one.
So we intend to put 3 this next year in Bane to take care of the new big mine coming up, and also in a place like
Tinga and Co.
Yes, this is our mega office. This is the Kumasi office.
You can see the lab at the back.
That alone can take care of our revenue, because almost everything has to be tested in a lab.
There's also a museum. This is
7-story. Construction will start next month, just opposite Golden Tulip.
So that is Minerals Commission office. That is it.
And these are from our own resources.
So let's go to the next slide.
Yes. Minister, I remember you said in your introductory remarks that it's not all that about Galamsey. For us, this is where we need to be telling our story.
A lot is happening here. This law was passed just
last year. The transition period is coming to an end 21st December this year.
And then it says that if you provide support services, you hold a mineral right, you acquire a license to export. You are supposed to submit a 5-year plan. Let's go to the next slide.
And these are some of the things that your plan must cover. But you don't just submit a plan, you have to give us a plan that covers the items on the list. That is where I'm coming to, and I'll give you some figures. Yes. Currently, we have 29 items on the list. Minister, the list was published in 2018. Earlier on, the items were 19, so we added 10 new items. And then let me just give you the figures. I'm not talking about corporate taxes here or royalties, because we tend to be obsessed with that, just to demonstrate where we can make money in this country. When we increase the items from 19 to 29 by adding 10 items, implementation started in 2019. We had $1.4 billion being spent by the mining companies, just 12 mining companies on procurement. Now, revenue receipts in 2019 was $6.7 billion. So out of $6.7 billion, that much was spent on local procurement. Now, you'll be asking, what is true local procurement? In other words, 1.1 billion out of the 1.4 were goods and services that were procured from here. So my job, my duty is to ensure that that 300 is captured here. You're talking about roughly about 20% or so of the 6.7 billion.
we could be doing 3, 4, 5 billion. As new mines come up, we may head to receipts of 10 billion, and we should be talking about 4, 5 billion. This is more, we don't get this in royalties. The truth, yes, we don't get this in royalties. So if you add royalties and other things, you can see where we are heading towards as a nation. Now, just last year, it fell to 1.2, of course, COVID. So everything has to shut down. People were not coming in. For almost about 4 months, nothing happened. But still, we managed to pull through. And nearly $1 billion was spent on true local procurement. Now, Minister, I'm happy to announce that we've added 11 new items. Yesterday, I spent 2 hours with the Chamber of Mines going through with them. And that's the 4th edition. It will be published and made available to the public. Can we see the items on them? And before we talk about some of these things, let me just make a quick remark. The items we have introduced are made up of 2 categories. One, items that are essentially preserved for Ghanaians. In other words, you don't allow foreigners to get involved. And then the other one where you have to come and set up here. For instance, 2018, when we published the 3rd edition, anybody could do fuel, the likes of Total. And then when we said fuel is meant for Ghanaians, $282 million was spent by the mining companies, just 12 companies on fuel. This is money in the hands of Ghanaians. The figure dropped to $218 million, again for COVID reasons. Contract mining, which is by far the biggest, in 2019, it was 789. Nearly $800 million was spent on contract mining, and then it fell to a little over 700, again for COVID reasons. I'm proud to announce this morning that contract mining, even though it's on the list, now we are saying that for surface operations should be done by Ghanaians. Yes, only Ghanaians, the likes of Rockshore and the other company. We have capacity now. Underground, we will still open it because we lack technology. Already it is happening. If you take Obuasi, for example, it's a JV between Rockshore and a foreign company. Our job is to monitor and make sure that there is true technology transfer, so that maybe in the next 5, 10 years down the line, we will say contract mining for Ghanaians. So maybe I'll come back and tell you what will happen in 2022 when we restricted contract mining for Ghanaians. So that is it. Catering is now for Ghanaians, $25 million. Catering services, 12 companies. Security was open, we restricted to Ghanaians. 2020, $60 million was spent by the mining companies on security. Now, lubricants. We made fuel exclusively Ghanaian. What it means is that the shareholders and the directors must be Ghanaians. That was in the 2018 list, which started implementing in 2019. General lubricants was open. Minister is one of the new lists. So apart from contract mining surface, lubricants have also been added. The good thing is that we are not a nation that destroys people's business. So we have agreed with the chamber yesterday that existing contracts will be grandfathered. So for example, Total, which will be caught by it, if they have a contract already, let's say Newmont and Co., that will run out. After that, they will not continue. It has to go to a Ghanaian. That's what we did for the fuel. So maybe I have to, I think you cannot see from there. So contract mining surface, exclusively Ghanaian directors and shareholders. Underground will be a JV. It's already happening. Then I want to talk about these two, which is very significant. Financial services. Financial services. Regulation 12(2) of LI 2431 is so clear. It says that at least 20% of all the transactions that the companies will have to undertake must go through Ghanaian banks. So it means that this is good news for the likes of ADB, NIB, CBG, and Co. So if you are talking about 7 billion receipts, for instance, in 2020, okay, and we are saying at least 20% of that should go to the local banks, you know what I'm talking about in terms of real impact. So that is that. We've also added insurance. Now, the good thing is that our hands are not tied. We don't have to go to Parliament anytime we want to change this law. We're supposed to do it annually. So if we look at the data and realize that, look, insurance, we need to increase it. It could go up, for example, 40%. Or we could increase that of the bank, what do you call it, financial services. So I'll be announcing this to the various banking institutions in next week when I meet them. Let's go to the next list. We also have Yes, oxygen generating plants. We've also added overall. I was shocked to see this. Actually, I was particularly very angry when I saw that we have on the list overall and wear clothes. So just yesterday, I have to add it to the list that it has to be done by Ghanaians. I don't know why these things have to be imported. So we are not going to allow the companies to import these things again. So that has been added to the list. And then the other thing too is drilling. Until recently, drilling was done by foreigners, companies from Australia. So this is also a new thing on the list now. We are saying that for surface operations, it has to be done by Ghanaians. We have registered about 5-6 companies that do drilling, and Ghanaians have capacity. They are doing drilling, providing drilling services for the likes of Newmont, Anglo-Gold, and Co. Now, for underground, there's a bit of challenge there. So we are treating it like contract mining. We are also saying that that one too has to be done by JV. With time, we will have to, once Ghanaians get the right technology and can do it, we will restrict it solely for Ghanaians. So you can see the distinction on the screen there. Let's go to the next thing. And then I also have, yes, the first 3 covers mineral exploration services. It's quite technical, so we have to break it. There are some areas that we said, look, it should be done by Ghanaians. Some like airborne, geophysical survey and co. We are saying, look, we don't have the technology yet, so let us partner. Foreigners are welcome, but it has to be JV. Again, it is up to MINCOM and geological survey to ensure that these things are properly monitored. So that is that in terms of the local content. And then small-scale mining, almighty small-scale mining. You can never discuss mining in Ghana without talking about small-scale. What have we done beginning of this year? Minister has already discussed the dialogue, so I'll not bore you with that. We have identified 27 areas, and 6 areas have been launched. You notice that we had to pause for a while because we didn't want this small-scale thing or this community mining thing to become another say. So, with the support of my minister and the ministry, we have come out with an operational manual. We are going to roll out very soon and go throughout the whole Ghana to educate people. Essentially, this is to guide everybody who wants to do small-scale and community mining, how you have to do it responsibly. Code of practice, everything is clearly stated here, accordance with law. It's no longer this, excuse my language, Gina Hodge thing. And I must be grateful to my deputy minister who has helped me to get this thing through. This is how a typical small-scale or community mining site is supposed to look like. You must have a changing room, have all the first aid and everything provided. So this is what we are insisting that they provide at the site before we license them. So this will be rolled out very soon. We are also going to establish the Community Mining Oversight Committee. I think from the next week or so, we shall be launching them to assist the district officers to monitor the operations of the small-scale miners. And of course, let me say this. Minister, when you came to office, we only had 5 equipment. I'm proud to say that we've been able to raise money. Now we are bringing in about 100 mercury-free machines, 100 of that. I think the first 20 or so will be delivered within the next 2 weeks. We'll give it to the small-scale miners. Now, the full set costs $113,000. Clearly, this is not something the small-scale miners will be able to pay. They can't do that. And that's how come the Chinese and other foreigners came in. Supply of equipment, and then they were doing all the kind of things we are seeing now. So what is a procedure? We're going to give it to the miners. They will do what, just like they do in the taxi business, where can pay. Typically 1 year, they should be able to pay. We spend over $10 million. I guess you heard me, over $10 million to bring in this equipment, and we'll be giving it to them as and when they come. Now, this will be a game changer in 3 ways. 1, we'll be stopping the use of mercury. By so doing, the nation will be honoring its commitment to the Minamata Convention, which says stop using mercury. I don't know what you heard this morning and where it came from. So that is 1. 2, typically, if you look at the method they use, maximum 40% mercury. The machine you can get 90%. In fact, I've just been advised that the machine also traps mercury. So that is what the machine can also do. They will recover more And those who are processing tailings are no longer happy, because what they tell you is that when the people work and they throw it away, they go and take it and process it. But I said we will need to change our behavior somewhere along the line. So these machines have come in now. Effectively, we are taking out the Chinese. If I can give you, if Mincom, if the ministry can give you $113,000 machine, go and work with it and come and pay. You don't need a foreigner. You don't need these foreigners to come and give you these machines. So that is how we are trying to stop these galamsey activities, particularly the influx of foreign, what do you call it, immigrants and doing all this stuff. Let's go to the next slide. And then reclamation. Somebody was asking me, yes, you say you are doing a lot, we've been following you. But what about all these degraded sites that are scattered all over? We keep asking ourselves those questions. And with the help of the ministry, we have begun a program to reclaim some of these degraded sites. We have no choice. We started in Ashanti, the pilot process. You are welcome to visit to see what is happening. I have a couple of features, but I don't know whether you'll be in a position to show us. The next one will start in the next month, essentially in Central Region, the Goma area, Western North, and then we'll continue next year in Eastern Region. But in the Central Region, in the same area, it will mainly be sand, reclamation of areas devastated by sand, wind, and clay. Perhaps that's what people call the next galamsey. So a lot is also happening in this area. This thing has never happened before. But within the last 2-3 months, under the leadership of my minister, we've started reclaiming these sites. We'll keep doing it all over the country. Again, this law was passed in 2020. We are about to commence the implementation. What have we done? We've shortlisted people who want to do it. Essentially, this is how it will work. Any person or any equipment, in fact, the law says earth-moving equipment, excavator, that you have to bring to a mine site, whether large scale or small scale, has to be registered. That's the first thing. We'll have to register you. And then secondly, we'll put in a tracking device. So let's assume if this is your 25 acre, the moment you move the equipment out, it stops. So we are not going to have a situation where they remove the control block and then they come back and fix it. That is not going to work that way. Then when you bring it to the site without being registered to, you'll be arrested and punished. So whether you're a service provider or you're a miner yourself, you have to get this thing registered. We've done the trials. We took them to the field. It worked for us. In fact, there was a particular question my deputy minister kept asking, what happens if they take out the control board? And we have to demonstrate that. So we'll roll out very soon and ensure that, and we'll watch you live, wherever, so we can be in our room. There will be a setup in the ministry at Mincom 24/7. We can see what is happening as far as this technology is concerned. With this, we think we can reduce, if not eliminate, illegal mining. Of course, we cannot end the discussions without challenges. Illegal mining persists. So people still work, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. My minister will tell you, yes, we'll still work with the security agencies to make sure that the last person is flushed out. Smuggling of gold from SSM resulting in a significant fall in production. Thankfully, that has been resolved by government now. The tax has been reduced from 3% to 1.5%. Of course, one other area which is also a nightmare for us, and people seem to lose sight for that, is one thing saying this is a blockout area, let the small-scale miners go and work. If you ship them there, they can just start digging anywhere. A company has just surrounded an area to be used for small scale. Then I sent the officer, I'll not mention the name right now, because if I do that, I'll find 20,000 people there tonight. We'll go and do the demarcation ourselves. I checked the data, then I asked the officer to go to the ground and do the inspection. We have 10,000 people working there, 10,000, that was the report. Minister will send you the report. 10,000 people working on the ground. These are illegal miners. Illegal to the extent that they are working within a company's property, but the company graciously surrounded it to Minerals Commission. Let me say that practically almost all the areas we've been launching are areas that were given to us by the large-scale people. And then when we look at the geological data that came out with it, the place is actually a very good area. So I was wondering why the company is being surrounded. Looking at what they have found, they said they were just overwhelmed. Almost everywhere they were working is outside the area if the geological report shows. So if the geological report shows that the gold is within this area, they were somewhere. I'm making a point. Now, yes, in spite of that, they are still producing something. Now, you can understand what it comes with, devastation, etc. So that is the kind of thing we want to do. We want to partner with Geological Survey to explore some of these geological areas. We have started. We started with an area called Ekwasi. I think it's about 16 square kilometers, and the gold was found. Now the community is telling us that you small scale, they want it large scale. So, Minister, that is something I have to come and discuss with you as to how to go forward. We're able to find all the gold-bearing areas, and it's quite a big thing. We are doing a similar thing with Geological Survey. You might have been worrying us that they want a place to explore. You remember at the launch of the National Alternative Employment Program, Professor Mankwa mentioned it. And I think last weekend or so, during the UMAT congregation, he talked about, we've given them a place, we are going to support that. So we hope to avoid that situation where years down the line, the gold is here, but the people are digging somewhere else. We can only do that when we do geological investigation. We have started. And of course, encroachment of quarry sites, we are working with the district assemblies to get that sorted out, or else we have to bring rock aggregates across our borders. Then illegal site winning, which is a very big problem, particularly in Volta region. And then, of course, the high cost of exploration compared to regional peers. It's essentially the issue of assay, which takes about 70% of the cost of exploration. Minister is working hard at it. It came together with the tax issue, but they've sorted out the tax issue. I believe in the coming year, that will also be sorted out. Without further ado, Minister for Information, Minister, I would like to end here, and then, with your permission, invite comments or suggestions from the general public. Thank you very much.
Mr. AC, thank you for that quick and detailed presentation. Colleagues, now is a good time to take your questions. I will not do more than 3 rounds, and I will not do more than 4 questions per round. So if you have questions, now is the time to put them forth, and then we can get responses. One of the key things that comes home very strongly is the digitization of the Minerals Commission and the fact that what used to take months to process, during which period you find all sort of illegal activity going on the ground, now can be done in a matter of days because of the technology and the investment in technological infrastructure that Minister and Chief Executive, you've done there. Another thing that hits home very strongly is the advancement in the local content listing, which is a major way of stimulating local economic activity and ensuring that there's retention of wealth here in this country. I think it's a very, very laudable initiative. And then, even apart from that, you are going further to provide support to small-scale miners, so that in terms of some of the capex items, they can get it on a leased basis and, you know, be able to produce in a safer, more efficient manner and pay back later. So, if you ask me, these are some of the big things that hit home. But if you have questions, colleagues, now is the time to take your questions, and then we will wrap up. Okay? So let's start with you. 1, 2. Yeah, let's start with you. Nana?
Yes, good morning. Honorable Minister, in order to curb the menace of small-scale mining, or like I'm saying for that matter, I think the government came out as a policy to train some local miners, how to call community mining scheme. What has happened to it? What is the development so far? And then I want to find out, Minerals Commission, when you give license to, when the ministry gives license to somebody to prospect or mine gold, and the person doesn't do the reclamation, as it were, what is the punishment associated with that kind of behavior? Thank you.
Sanction for failure to reclaim. Thank you. Yes, sir. Jenny.
Yeah, thank you. As the minister said, you will take delivery of 100 free mercury machines. I want to know the specific time these machines will arrive in the country. Then 113,000 per each, and the miner is supposed to pay within a year. If the miner failed to pay, what happens? Then
So what are their contractual obligations?
Yes,
and if they fail?
obligations.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Then 1.5% withholding tax that of unprocessed goods. It is going to be collected at the mining site. What are the safety mechanisms that are put in place to ensure accountability and transparency, so that one day we will not hear that somebody has collected the money and it couldn't get to the appropriate quarters? What are the safety mechanisms? Thank you.
Very well. Are there other questions? If there are, now is a good time to take them, or I'll move straight to answers and then we'll wrap up. Are there other questions? Ms. Azy.
Minister, thank you very much. The first one has to do with punishment or failure to reclaim. In fact, that is what has brought us this far. So the minister has directed, and it's as part of the manual which are displayed, operational manual, we are now having joint monitoring and concurrent reclamation. So just like the last case people do, you reclaim as you go along. The legacies, we have to live with it and deal with them. But for now, that is a new process. And then joint monitoring has begun together with EPA to make sure that these things are done properly. And then as I speak, I have about 5 applications on my desk now for renewal. I've refused to process them until my officers come back and confirm to me that they had reclaimed the area. So that is what we are doing, joint monitoring now and concurrent reclamation. The legacies, we have no choice than to reclaim. That is it. Now, for the machines, yes, it's a full set. It crashes, mills, concentrates, and then recovers the gold. What is the guarantee that it will pay back? We are giving to cooperatives. These are cooperatives well organized, and you're talking about people, membership are ranging anything between 100 and about 5,000. So we've put in stringent mechanisms. They have our accounts, everything in place, and they will start paying. In fact, most of them will start paying from January. And we hope that by December next year, they will have completed it, and then we'll have the opportunity. As and when the monies are paid, we'll also bring in more for those who need them. So yes, the system is quite robust to ensure that they pay. We are not just giving to anybody. That is, in fact, a lot of them even want to pay outright. A lot of them, but we realize that when we do that, it will affect the bulk or the masses that are living down in the villages, like this 10,000 that I talked about. They need about 5. I'll prefer to give it to them than to give it to somebody who just approached me yesterday and say, I want to pay for 2. And he really had money. That is it. When are the machines coming? The first 20 are coming within the next 2 weeks. And once they come, we'll announce, we'll launch, and we'll distribute them to the various mining communities. Hopefully, by the end of the year, we should be doing about 40. And by March, the 100 should have come in. So that is that. And then maybe as and when people pay, we'll be bringing in more. So that's the question on when is the next one coming. We'll let the press know when we're about to launch. And then the other thing is the training. Yes, they have been trained. But then you remember the manual that we published, which are displayed, is on our website. All those things are there. You're supposed to be trained now, and then come and see us. We'll give you a place for you to work, rather than just go and say, I don't have any place to work. We are assisting them now. So those of them who have been trained, we don't have to now spend money and retrain them again. We just have to introduce them to a new technology. So that is my answer to that question. Now, let me also... The 1.5%, yes. We've had a meeting. There was a meeting, in fact, 3 times I attended myself, Minerals Commission, the Ministry, the Ministry of Finance, and the Small Scale Association as to how to implement this. So hopefully by the time it is approved by Parliament and then we start the implementation, between the end of the year, we'll put in place stringent mechanisms as far as the collection is concerned. That is it. So we started even the agreements way before the budget was even announced because we anticipated the reduction. So that's my answer to that. And then let me also say that, I don't know whether I clarified this, the contract mining, I'm saying there are 2 aspects of it. We have the surface one and then the underground. For now, I think 99% is surface. And that's giving us about $800 million or so in 2019, and it dropped about 700 because of COVID. It may go up and hit $1 billion or more. I'm saying I'm preserving that for Ghanaians, so the likes of engineers and planners that are heavily involved, that's a bonanza for them. apart from Rockshot that is doing underground. So let us take note of that. It is underground one that I said, as a result of technological challenge, Ghanaians will have to partner locals, the foreign companies who are doing it now. And we have an example happening in Obuasi. So 5-6 years down the line, I'll be in a position to say now, no more contract mining for foreigners. So if contract mining alone is giving us nearly $1 billion, why are we so fixated about royalties and taxes? I'm not saying we should collect them. So this is where the money is. At appropriate time, Minister will hold a whole briefing on opportunities in the mining sector. You don't necessarily have to rush and say, I want a license to mine. Come and talk to us about local content. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Chief Executive. Quite clearly, there is a Chief Executive we can rely on. He's on top of his brief. Now, let me just emphasize 2 or 3 things. The first one is that the President's strategy when it comes to small-scale mining, and I remember when I was at Jubilee House, he kept emphasizing on that. The enforcement regime is important, which is the Operation Hall, the Inspectorate Division of the Minerals Commission, and all of that. But the reforms is equally important, if not more important. So the set of measures the Minerals Commission CEO has outlined, the measures to do with the mercury-free investments we are making, the reforms in the regime in terms of licensing, then all the gamut of interventions we are making to reform the Minerals Commission, reform how small-scale mining itself is regulated. It's absolutely important. I mean, you can deploy as many soldiers as you care. If the man, as he said, has to travel all the way from Asankragua through his regional capital, very frustrated, come to Minerals Commission, he's never been to Accra before, go to Minerals Commission offices, get frustrated as well, and goes back, he must as well go and do the illegal mining. And you can't blame him that much. But whilst you are insisting that don't engage in the illegalities, I think it's also our responsibility and obligation as a government to provide the conducive environment and the proper regulatory framework within which we'll have the moral authority to insist on compliance. And I'm very excited that the CEO of Minerals Commission seems to have outlined the measures we are putting in place. The second one is that the President is big on the indigenization of the mining sector in our country. When you listen to this presentation, quite clearly, the old adage of gold mine is truly a gold mine. It's a lot of money. We're talking about billions of dollars. So it's government's responsibility to create the framework to ensure that, as the Minister for Information quite appropriately pointed out, to retain some of the value here in Ghana and the significance of it. And it will take policy interventions, legislative interventions, local content interventions to ensure that we indigenize the mining sector of our country. And that is another major preoccupation of President Akufo-Addo. He's never minced words on that. He's been on that case all throughout. And I'm happy again that the CEO of Minerals Commission is outlined some of the measures we are undertaking to ensure that we indigenize the mining sector of our country. I want to conclude by indicating forcefully, everywhere in the world, the extractive sector is mostly bedeviled with challenges. No extractive sector, whether it's in the petrochemical industry or the gold industry or diamond or what have you, where there's extraction, there's money. And where there's money, you can be rest assured that people will also be determined to make the money hook or crook. What is important is that we also are ahead of these criminals, and if I may use that word. And so, as we are engaging in this encounter, I'm sure a lot of people are commenting, look, there's illegal mining happening here, or this is not going well there. We are not by any means suggesting that we have resolved all the problems in the mining sector. Not at all. We cannot resolve all the problems in the mining sector within the period that we've been in office. And it's not even possible to resolve all the problems ever. But what is important is to take the sector to a satisfactory situation where the country is reasonably assured that there is a proper regulatory framework and regime that responds to eventualities and issues when they arise, and so on and so forth, and that we're on the right track. And all that we also do is anchored on integrity and transparency, so that people, civil society, actors, industry players can question what we do, and we'll be able to stand up squeaky clean. So let me make that very clear. In South Africa, in Canada, in Australia, everywhere you have extractive sector, you can check it out. They are grappling with a lot of problems, and the most important thing is that the people who are responsible for managing these sectors are up to the task. I want to thank the Deputy Minister responsible for mining, Honorable George Mirikuduka, Member of Parliament for Takwa, who's been working day and night and working tirelessly with the CEO of Minerals Commission and the Minerals Commission to achieve a lot of this work that we've been able to achieve thus far. And of course, our very experienced Deputy Minister, 5-term Member of Parliament, who is responsible for lands and forestry. And the last time we were here to talk about lands, you saw the work that he has done in that sector. And hopefully, out of the generosity of our distinguished Minister for Information, we will have an opportunity again to speak to the country about forestry and Green Ghana and all the matters relating to forestry. And there again, you will find the work that the Deputy Minister is. We all work under the vision of the President and his leadership, his outstanding leadership. And we work as a team. And we call on Ghanaians to continue to support us and to bear with us and give us all the impetus to be able to handle the mining sector and the lands and natural resource sector of our country. I thank you so very much, and I thank my brother, the Minister for Information.
Honourable Minister, many thanks to you and your team. It's been brief, but it's been full of detail with which we can work. I want to thank you that you've made yourself available this morning to account to the people through our platform. All these are Minister's press briefings. They are done under the auspices of our distinguished Deputy Minister for Information, the Honourable Fatia Abubakar. Yes, she's the woman in charge. Have you seen her white this morning? Brutal. So, Honourable Deputy Minister, we're grateful that you've given us your platform to utilize. And to the team that came here from Lands and the Minerals Commission, we're grateful. I'm sure we'll see you during the week. Thank you very much.